Hello and welcome to Uncommon Drops. My name's True and I am joined by my good friends AJ,
How's it going, everybody?
Chris,
Yo.
and Richie.
Yes.
And today, we're going to be talking about something that I've just been completely obsessed about. And the last couple of days have been really news heavy with the whole Blizzard controversy, with the Diablo stuff, and then what was the other big thing The Quiet Man, I think, came out, and the reviews for that have been interesting. But what I've been obsessed for this week is these proposed changes that are coming to Rainbow Six Siege. Just off the bat, does anybody know anything about those things? Or about the Rainbow Six stuff?
I've read a little bit about it.
I heard a
Yeah,
little
same.
bit about it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, and the way that I picture this episode going, I'm going to throw the story at you guys, get your responses. Then I'm going to throw in like 2 or 3 different scenarios. We'll discuss those points, and then that'll be the podcast. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So in a vlog post on Friday, Ubisoft put out saying that in Season 4, which is going to be, I believe, the next patch or one of the upcoming patches, that they're going to be making some big changes to the aesthetics of the game. So, off the blog post, we are currently working towards preparing Rainbow Six Siege for expansion into Asian territories. As such, there will be some adjustments made to our maps and icons to ensure compliance. None of these changes will have an impact on gameplay, or as they say, but we have examples of these changes at the bottom of the blog. Now, the reasons why they're doing this is that they want to have one build throughout the world as opposed to 2 builds, one for specifically China and then one for pretty much everywhere else. And they claim by only having one build, they'd be able to focus all of the development on everything and are able to address issues that come up quickly. And then blah, blah, we want to be future-proof. And as I stated before, they're not going to change the core concepts of the game. So I'm just going to go off of some of the changes that they propose here, and then I'm going to get your guys' responses. The melee icon, the death icon are both going to be changed. So currently, the melee icon is a dagger. I believe that's from your like kill feed. It's going to change from a dagger to a fist, and the death icon is going to change from a skull to a torso with an X through it. Then around some of the maps, there's like this picture of a skeleton wearing a hoodie. They're changing it so it's a masked character with sunglasses and a mask with a hoodie. They said, so in general, China doesn't like skulls. So a lot of games that get ported there have to have skulls removed. So that makes sense. If they're going to be trying to put this into Chinese audiences, that's something that they would have to change. And we could talk more about that in depth later. Gambling is another big one. So the slot machines on this map are just going to get straight up taken off.
Oh my gosh, that's stupid.
Environmental blood effects are also going to be removed. Now, that's not saying that if you shoot somebody and then their blood goes on a wall, that should still be in the game. But they're talking more of like, if they just randomly painted a wall with blood, that's going to be removed. And then the last picture that they
Did
posted
it ever
on here,
happen though?
well, there are places on some of the maps where there's just random blood spatter. They're just going to remove it.
Are you serious?
And then the last part that they mentioned on this vlog or blog is some of the sexual content is going to get toned down. So there's a room, I believe this is Clubhouse, where there's like a stripper on a pole in a very seductive pose. That whole neon lights display is getting removed, and it's just going to be a hand. So,
Every time I look at that thing, I have to repent.
well, then these kind of
So they
changes should
gotta
appeal to you then. So I'm just curious. I hear that Richie has some displeasure. What are your thoughts on this, Richie?
Like, okay, I mean, we're literally talking about the whole entire globe. And China, what percentage are they of the whole entire world?
A lot.
And they're just now. I know they're a lot, but how many years has Siege been out? And we're now just catering essentially to their government because they want to be stringy on their people.
So
It's freaking annoying. Like, we're bowing down to their government because they don't like certain things.
it might help for you to have a little bit more information on this. So I think it was last year Ubisoft announced that they were not going to be bought out by Vivendi Entertainment. Instead, what had happened was Vivendi stopped trying to buy out Ubisoft and sold their shares. There's a bunch of different places that went to it, but the biggest part of those shares that went out went towards Tencent, which is a huge Chinese video game company or video game publisher or whatever you want to call it. So Ubisoft trying to push into China is probably part of that, and Tencent is probably going to be the ones that are going to be like facilitating this transfer. So with Tencent having a stake in it, they're probably like, okay, we want to put this in China. We know Chinese audiences are going to love it. We need to make these changes before we could do that. So just so you know, that might be some of the background by why this is happening now as opposed to like years ago.
Really political.
Other thoughts?
I don't know. It's gonna be weird. I don't even know if we're gonna play it ever again, honestly, because freaking the new Black Ops is incredible. But regardless, it's gonna. I mean, it's a very cringy, mature, graphic game. Like it's gonna be weird. Like rated T.
I
You
don't
even hear
know.
cussing or anything, or
I mean, they haven't said it would be rated T. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to move into that direction and release it in China as a T-rated game. I don't know what their translation for that would be, but I don't think that would affect its rating stateside because it's already been rated. But yeah, it is essentially going to become a teen game if they're going to move into this general direction of removing all these different types of things.
I guess we'll see what happens with it.
Chris or AJ, any thoughts?
Chris, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I don't mind them taking out all the like gambling references or just making some changes personally, as long as they replace it with something better. Like I saw screenshots of the slot machines being gone, but now there's just an empty space. If they replace it with something, I really don't care.
An arcade.
Yeah, sure, like an arcade machine, that'd be perfectly fine. Just I don't want the changes to detract from anything. Just making it less violent, less controversial. That's totally fine with me. It's a political move that will increase their sales by a ton, and it'll give them a lot more funds to upgrade the game, keep it going. I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm not sure about blood splatter and all that though, because if they're just trying to decrease violence, I mean, it's a game where you actively kill people and blood splatters on the wall, so I don't really see why that's really an issue. And
it's actually helpful to see blood splatter, so you know where the enemy is or if you got him or not.
And with the the skulls, the graphic on the wall, changing that, I really don't care. It's just a design thing that no one really pays attention to anyway. But are they going to change Javier's face paint now? I mean, what are they going to do with that? Thermite's new skin with his eyes popping out. I mean, is that too violent for that audience?
And that was going to be the
people
next
have
thing.
bought that already.
That was going to be my next point that I was going to make, is that Caviera is my favorite character on there. I suck as her, but she's my favorite character. If they removed her face paint, I don't know if I'd play as her anymore, because that's just such a cool. It's her identity, And then there's a few skins on her that are like skulls and stuff like that. And yeah, she would lose her identity if she had to change her face paint to make it more friendly, I guess.
Heavenly.
AJ, what are your thoughts? Or go ahead, Chris. Yeah. I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
I was saying it's a smart move politically, but I don't think we should necessarily change the entire game to fit one country's demands. I don't know. It's a weird situation where there are benefits, there's
ups and downs
to this argument. Yeah, I don't know. I guess ultimately it's less work for the developers, right? So they don't have to maintain two separate versions of the game. But yeah, it's kind of a weird move.
AJ?
Yeah, so I'm actually the exact opposite of Chris. I actually cannot fucking stand censorship of art in any form. Can't fucking stand it. And even when it's like subtle changes, right? So like you mentioned, the gambling machines being taken away. Because here's the issue that I have, because it's not all the time that you pay full attention to all the details in the map. But whether you realize it or not, you're kind of subconsciously taking it all in. And everything in that map tells a story. Right, like the gambling machines make sense. It seems like it's a motorcycle gang clubhouse. Probably a lot of criminal activity. You got some gambling machines for some extra money. Of course, the stripper sign, that kind of thing. Like it tells that story of that map. The blood splatter on the walls tells some sort of story of something happening on that map. So when you take away these sort of art assets, you're basically stripping away the story that map was telling. And that irritates me that we have to censor the game and all of the art within it for more than likely this one country, China, right? And I would prefer there be two builds. I understand it'd be more work, but I would just prefer there be two builds, especially for dumb things like the icon change. Even the icon changes to me is stupid. Going from a knife to a fist. You're knifing them. You know what I'm saying? You're not punching them. You're freaking knifing them. So it's a knife symbol. Even that small sort of changes is just irritating. So I'm in the camp of, hey, I know it'd be extra work, but manage two builds, especially if it's going to actually put a leash and a handicap on the potential for future art assets. So when you guys create new maps and you create new customer skins, character skins, now you have this filter that automatically goes over it. Well, we can't do anything that's a little too mature, a little too violent. So automatically you're like cutting off a lot of potential for art to be added to the game. And so, you're kind of you're just handicapping it in a way, and that just irritates me, man. Make two builds, and if you want to, make that filtered, censored version, cool. But let us keep the original Siege that we had, and then continue to get, content that, ultimately serves the purpose, tells a story. You know what I'm saying? They put those gambling machines there for a reason. Put the blood spatter there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And the game's already violent. That's what's so dumb anyway. I understand that their culture and their government or whatever has these rules, but it's like if you're upset about the blood spot on the wall, it's okay if you shoot someone in the head. It's so dumb. But
You actually
yeah,
make a really good point, AJ.
yeah,
Like,
it's dumb as hell.
This is about like all the special forces around the whole entire world. Why the heck? Like I just said, it'd be cool if they changed it to arcade. But if you think about it, it doesn't make sense why the heck there'd be a mafia and an arcade. Why would they have an arcade to control? They have casinos. That actually happens. That's something happens every freaking day. Mafias do really own casinos. That special forces would go there if they had to, or something like that, or like a club, or like a biker club, or like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Change it to something
So, I
else.
mean,
It doesn't make
Yeah,
any
so
sense.
that is a really good point about the artistic and story side of it, because like you were saying, you start thinking about like what the story is behind the whole situation where you go into this biker gang, there's gambling going on, there's violence
it's
going
a
on. It's a
scenario.
dangerous place you're going into, right? It's like a den of sin that you're infiltrating. And if you you replace all those items, then what are you left with? Just normal
Everything
game.
is going to be really basic. Yep, everything will be really basic. There will be no, extra layer of like detail for the story because it's got to be held back. It can't be too, and it's so crazy because even though it's a multiplayer game, you're playing scenarios, right? There's the forces team, and there's the kind of, the other team's forces, but they're kind of the enemy, right? And where there's hot situation or something like that, the map kind of adds that story of like this is why this multiplayer match is happening right now, so yeah, that just irritates me, man. So because now, and it seems like Siege is going to go on for a while. It's a decent game. The content has been coming out pretty good, and now all I can think about is, man, what has changed in the pipeline for the content that we could have gotten, for the stories that could have been told artistically. Now that they have to, now they only have one version, and they gotta keep it held back a little bit, keep it filtered and censored a little bit.
infiltrating a Chuck E. Cheese or something.
It's just so irritating, man. And the basis of
All
it
right,
all
guys.
is I can't stand censorship of art. I absolutely cannot stand it at all.
Yeah, and I completely agree with your points. I'm the same way. I really like the way that the South Park video games, in the first game, they had a scene where you're at an abortion clinic and you essentially have to perform an abortion to, I forget, you're getting somebody like exercise or something like that. And in like Australia, where they have super hard censorship laws, instead of showing that scene, I think the narrator talked about it, and it had like a picture of a koala like being sad or something like that, and saying, "Sorry, censors hit this game," kind of thing. I thought that was a neat way to like kind of hit at that.
Right.
It's actually pretty funny.
But while we're on
Yeah,
the
maybe we
topic
can
of,
just do like
go
as
ahead,
an
Chris.
alternative to all the changes. I mean, I think it'd be pretty
Make
easy
blood
to
into confetti.
just have a toggle system in the setting or something. Like a lot of games have those violent sensors where you limit blood, limit violent scenes. That like the China filter, just switch it on, removes that gambling machine, the blood disappears, and whole graphics change.
Yeah, like zombies, where you can turn on the
Boom.
cartoon mode, but just make that default on
There
the
you go.
Chinese servers.
Yeah, it's
Is there
true.
cartoon mode?
I think
It's
there is.
locked.
Yeah,
It's a locked
I use
option.
Just because it's cool. It looks cool.
Or have the
I use
option
because
available,
it's too
just have it grayed
graphic
out
for
in
mine. I
that
can't
region.
handle it. No.
All right, so there's a few different points that you guys have discussed in there, and there were a few different things that I kind of want to point it out. So we'll just start with this one. So Counter-Strike Go does have Chinese version separate from the global version.
Hey.
And so a Reddit user, Thatcher Main, had posted some differences in the Chinese version as opposed to the American one. So I just kind of wanted to read out some of what they wrote. So some of the difference on the maps.
Cool.
On the map cache, bomb set A and B long, the hammer and sickle symbol is censored, just completely censored. On the map train, also the same. On the map Italy, the Italian flag is removed from the game. On the map weapons course,
Oh my gosh.
it exit and start are translated into Chinese. That's not a big deal. On Dust and Dust 2, all Arabic references were removed from posters, signs, and boxes, and all graffiti is altered. And then the map Monastery is not playable at all possibly due to it taking place in Tibet. In order to comply with science,
what's
China
Wow,
says
that's
The last one about Tibet.
there's a map
Crazy.
that's not playable, and this I don't know. It's this person. This person saying that it's possibly because the map takes place in Tibet.
That's interesting.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah, that's wild.
and then items, any appearance of skulls and blood must either be replaced or toned down. And then gameplay changes. All blood decals are recolored to full black, which is the same as the German version of the game. Headshot particles are also gray-black. And the armband found on the right arm of the Separatist models have been changed from 3 stars and 1 big star at the center to 2 stars with a thunderbolt in the center. And then the achievements icons also have low violence versions. So those are some of the changes in the Chinese version. Those are not things that I would want going into my global version or my version of Rainbow Six Siege, especially if you're going to be removing the
It's
Italian
insanely
flag.
excessive. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
That's crazy. So you just made another good point then. Does that mean that certain operators that we could have got in the pipeline we will no longer get because we can't have that particular operator set or whatever in the game, you know?
Oh my gosh. Screw the Chinese. Gosh. Seriously? All because of their stupid government?
That's scary.
Pisses me off.
That's insane.
I'm not saying all the Chinese. I'm
I
talking
seem to
about
be having
the
some
Chinese government.
difficulties with my headset, or my mic, so I'm gonna have to switch mics. I don't want to mess up the recording. So, to answer your question, I could have sworn I saw that they're introducing a Muslim operator, but I don't know. That was just someone in this Siege Reddit saying that that's something they wouldn't probably, or that's.
Well, I guess we're not getting it either.
Yeah, well, like,
Awesome.
you know, there's
You can forget it.
That would have been cool. I have Peshmerga or something. That would be sweet.
Well, looks like
I
I'm
don't
not getting
understand a
unsolved
Muslim
siege.
operator. Is it just an operator from Middle Eastern country, or?
I assume that would be, but I could.
It's an American dude that's Muslim.
I mean, that's fine too.
Seriously, like, is this
Just another
an
FBI
African
agent.
dude, a Asian, or what? He's just calling himself Muslim?
The Islamic country, I'm assuming.
Actually, did you know that one of the Navy SEALs, Blackbeard, is actually Muslim? Oh, okay.
There you go. He does have a sweet beard.
That beard is legit.
He's actually not a SEAL. He just has a religious saving waiver.
So, kind of just going off of a quick Google search, it looks like Morocco is going to be is going to be one of the upcoming units coming out.
Hey, sorry, are we on a CS:GO right now or Siege?
Siege. I'm sorry.
Okay. Morocco.
Year 3, Season
Okay.
4 will add 2 new operators to the Moroccan GIGR-CT map. I can't read that because
Map.
it's French, I think. Groupe d'Intervention de la Gendarmerie Royale. Name of
Dang.
that group.
Cool.
Sounds
Doesn't,
pretty good.
yeah, it doesn't look like there's details on it yet. But I'm
Morocco.
just off a quick Google search. But I mean, I'm not super versed in it, but I know that China's having some. They're taking people who worship or follow the Islam faith are being like locked up and put in concentration camp kind of thing. So that might
Well, that's
be
been
why,
happening for years.
I know. So that's probably why the Arabic references were taken out of CS:GO, and people were
They do
pointing out
that-
in the
they
comments
do that
that it's
for
kinda
all
ironic
religions
that
there.
it's- Yeah, I remember. Is it the we? I don't want to say it because I might be wrong. I remember reading about some of that stuff later, but yeah.
Hey, so going back to the CS:GO portion, all those changes, Italian flag was removed.
Yeah, and I would just.
You know a
yeah,
reason for that?
Offensive.
I don't know.
It offends me.
Are their relations that bad?
Is it stemming from World War II animosity?
I mean, we have Japanese operators in
I guess it's true.
in Siege.
Well, but we haven't. Maybe they'll just get changed to like Asian, you know, or American,
Just
General
generic
Asian.
just general Asian.
You know what I'm thinking right now?
Mm.
What's up?
I might have to uninstall Siege is what I'm thinking.
You know, and I've been thinking that too.
That's where I'm at.
Seriously.
That's where I'm at right now.
They're gonna lose a lot of fans.
Tibet map gone.
Well, and the reason why I've been so
That's
obsessed with this
stupid.
topic is that the whole Rainbow Six subreddit, and I know that's a small portion of the population, but like all the posts are essentially, look, I broke my
The
disc.
most serious
I'm
player base.
uninstalling this, and this is coming right off the heels of I would probably say one of the best Rainbow Six Siege players in the world, Pengu, coming out and complaining in like a 5,000 word essay essentially saying, these are all the issues we have with Siege right now, and Ubisoft is not listening to community. So like that
Wow.
immediately followed by this is just not
Jeez.
a good look for Rainbow Six Ubisoft in general.
Definitely not.
Hey, Ubisoft was doing so well for a while. Going back.
Yeah, they definitely
Going back to roots.
Well, you know, and it's the whole thing of like, well, they probably just let Rainbow Six just do whatever because it wasn't making any money. Like, well, see what you get. But then as soon as it was like, oh, this is like the best shooter in the world kind of thing, then you started seeing these crazy alpha packs coming out, and you know, all these weird, or not weird, but like all these locked gardens of customization options, like the Halloween events, like the Chimera Outbreak stuff. People are pointing out that stuff's all been happening. Rainbow Six started getting popular. You can see Ubisoft's hands kind of getting into everything now. This could be the nail in the coffin for American base, but maybe they don't care. Maybe they know that China is going to be such a huge thing that they don't care. They piss everybody off outside of China. Now we have new people coming in that are going to have to buy the operators and buy that stuff.
Yep, and it's like you said though, you know. Now and I'm thinking about it, and I'm sure this is the case with a lot of other developers as well, right? I'm sure the actual developers of this game probably didn't want to do this, but their hand was forced. And it's just, you know, these top leadership, and then you said, you know, the Tencent stuff like that, kind of, you know, forcing the hand. Because at the end of the day, gaming, all these publishers and developers and all the businesses, they're all businesses, you know. So it's all about that bottom line, that profit dollars. How much freaking money can we make? And it does not matter how we get there, but we have to get there. And that's kind of, I guess that's what's happening here. And it's good you mentioned that Outbreak stuff, because you know what, that Halloween event that just came out, you can't even get any packs unless you just straight up buy them. That is insane. And it's stupid when you look at all these other games, even freaking Call of Duty has a Halloween event, and you can earn everything without buying anything. Granted, you got to put some time in, but at least, you know, it's not absurd, you know.
And then, you know, like what Chris had mentioned earlier, they just got done doing a Halloween event where Thatcher was a fucking skull, and then all these other like Halloween events, and then literally as soon as that event's over, it's like, oh, hey, guess what? We're gonna be starting to take out all the skulls. And what's gonna happen to all those people that bought all those packs specifically for those characters? I'm not gonna be happy if I bought a character or a skin and they're gonna change it fundamentally. I would want my money back. You know, that's why Smite says that they don't do remodels for all their old skins. Well, people bought that skin as is. We're not going to change that to the new model because people bought that for that reason. So that's why like Bacchus's recolors are all the old skin, but then like now going forward they're all the new, because people get pissed because they bought it as is and now you're changing it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm getting a little worried about. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris. I was gonna what I was bringing up was on a different topic related to this, but go ahead.
So was mine. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Cool. I just wanted to call this out real quick because Matt mentioned earlier about, you know, the users on the Rainbow Six subreddit, you know, being really upset, posting a lot of pictures and stuff. So I just saw two right here that I wanted to bring up. They're pretty funny. There's a picture of a guy who broke his PS4 Rainbow Six Siege disc, and the title was I assume the sharp edges are too violent to post here. And then
got it.
And
Gosh.
This one is legendary right here, guys. This one's legendary. I just want to read this out. This is from user Lilabo Finken or something like that on the Rainbow Six Siege subreddit. He says, Ubisoft removed slot machines from the maps, but not the slot machine in the main menu. Damn.
Oh.
God. Woo! Good lord.
Yeah, I was about to mention that earlier. Like, since gambling, or the perception of gambling has been taken out, what about the actual loot boxes or alpha packs? I guess you're calling them.
Dang, loot boxes
are those
gambling.
going to be staying in, or I mean, because Sweden that completely banned loot boxes? One of the Nordic countries.
Yeah, one of them did, and then a few other countries have said that they want to push back on it too. But it's a perception,
Which
right?
I'm all for.
Yeah, I'm for it too. I would love to just be able to buy, you know, Sombra's Halloween skin, but I had to keep getting loot boxes. And
it's going to be direct purchase, $20 each.
That's fine.
Realize, ooh, that's how much I have been spending. But yeah, like now that I see all the CS:GO details and all the censorship that's been happening there, now I'm getting a little more worried about Siege because, you know, aesthetic changes like the blood and the gambling machine being gone. Yeah, it distracts from the story, like AD was saying, but I could live with it. But if you're starting to completely cut out maps like the Tibet map, hammer and sickle, Italian flags for some reason, any Arabic references, like, what's the future of this game going to look like? Is it just going to be some generic mall or some house with no real character to it, or I mean, are we going to continue to
then like all these operators are from
specific
countries, from specific units.
Yep.
So you're going to get rid of the
like,
Italian operators, you're going to get rid of the Moroccan operators, you're going to get rid of the Russian operators. Like,
if you want to make some Israeli operator or something, are they going to be like, nah, we don't want that, so don't put it in?
Yeah.
Like, how far are they
It's
gonna
almost
go?
like China is telling him, hey, this is what you got to do with the game.
Yeah,
So it's almost like
countries,
they're the
government
directors.
dictate a video game, right?
Well, and then that's why all these other games have Chinese versions. And something I liked about High Res, they had separate Chinese and American versions, but they still, at a different point in time, they still would not release skins. And then just at one point, you could just tell that they're like, man, fuck it, we don't make any money in China anyways. And all of a sudden, we had 6 patches in a row with a bunch of skulls, like all these concepts that they're probably just sitting on for years.
Baron
Like, let's do it.
coming out.
We're going all in skulls, guys. Operation Skulls.
We got skulls.
2018, year of the skulls. Let's do it.
It's just it could go in the direction of we'll make minor changes like the blog said. But if you look at the writing in the sand, if you look at how like CS:GO changes, you could see that this could potentially change the game in a direction where it'll be unrecognizable from the way it was. On top of that, with it looking like
straight up,
if pro players are coming out and complaining and Ubisoft's not listening, it's only a matter of time before this goes the way of what was that game called? The Culling, where people seemed really hype about it. They were right there, I believe, right in front of PUBG. They could have potentially taken the Battle Royale scene completely. They didn't listen to their fans. They kept pushing along with what they wanted to do, did not listen to feedback, and people jumped ship as soon as PUBG. And then you could tell that they did not listen to the community, because then they released The Culling 2, which nobody fucking played except for like 300 people, and then immediately shut it down from the store and said, hey, we're actually going to go back to The Culling. Like, please come back and play. And it's just like, yes, at a certain point,
community.
I don't.
Yeah, but I mean,
Right.
at a certain point, yeah, you should do things that you think are right, despite the community, like releasing the hamster ball in Overwatch. I love that fucking character. Community was not happy about that at first. I still like him. There's those kind of things. Like,
He's
well,
pretty
you have a
cool.
direction, do it. But if there's fundamental issues, mechanics, like the very first thing that Pengu put in his blog is hit regulation's been bad since beta, or something like that. And it's just like,
Right.
that should have been fixed years.
Yeah, another topic that's been pretty hot on the subreddit lately was the auto banning issue.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where like for team killing. So this guy was talking about this guy he's been constantly running into in matches, constantly queuing up against either on his team or on the opposite team, and every single match he gets shot by this guy, but not killed. But because he didn't kill him, he doesn't get penalized for it. And he's been reported many times, pretty much every single match by him and multiple teammates. He sees it happening on the other team as well when he's on the other team, and nothing happens about it. And the whole being auto banned from Siege for explicit language, like you type in some guy's username into the chat and it gets automatically kicked out of the game and banned for 2 days.
Seriously?
Because apparently in some other country that is considered a bad word, even though his username wasn't banned in the first place.
Whoa.
You gotta be kidding me. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Wow.
At a certain point, profanity filters in M-rated games need to back off. It's ridiculous that in Black Ops 4,
Seriously.
you cannot name a class Titan because of the word Titan. Even though there's a gun in the game called Titan, it makes no fucking sense. But that's just how it is.
That's ridiculous.
You make a good point, man. I didn't really think make that connection. It's an M-rated game, which literally on the box says 17 or 18 and up, but we can't we type in Titan because tit is in there. But it's an 18 and up game. Like that is.
Hey,
so
they know the
far-fetched.
12-year-olds are all
The
over the
12-year-olds,
game, right?
But we gotta make it right for
Hey, but I mean,
12-year-olds, so.
even Overwatch is a rated teen game, but you had the option to switch off the profanity filter.
Really?
I know
I don't
that
see why
profanity in
any
that
other
game.
game
I did not
allows
know
you to do
that.
that. Yep.
That is impressive.
Well, on
Way to go,
PC,
Overwatch.
you have chat.
At least on PC,
Richy,
yeah.
That's why.
Oh.
And
that
normally
makes
it's
sense,
it asterisks it out, but if you switch that off, you see pretty much everything.
That's how you do it right there.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
That's an easy change.
you could look at that vlog post, like I said, you could just be like, all right, well, it doesn't seem like anything's going to change. But then as you look at the rest of the things that have been going to 6, you can see this game, unless it makes a big cut turnaround, is going to start going down. Like Mark, AJ,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I had
big
played
time.
during the Halloween event, and both of you guys were like, this game feels kind of, and doesn't feel as good as like Black Ops, which we were just playing. And it's like,
It's
huh,
very true.
because this game has
When did you
probably
guys
not
play?
changed much. We played a while ago, but it's like, yeah, if this game doesn't
Yeah, like a week or
change
two.
and fix these issues,
Ah.
if it doesn't, and people are complaining that Maverick's broken. I've not played high enough ranked to know how broken he is, but people seem pretty upset with how powerful he is as a character. So like,
Mm.
and then Lion's been broken since launch, and they can't seem to fix him. It doesn't seem like they
Care.
It doesn't seem like they care. They're just trying to make money. And that's what's upsetting to me as someone who really enjoys this game. For the last year 2, we played a lot of Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
True.
Playing this game a lot. Also
Well-
slap in the face.
I got Black Ops, so fuck them.
Seriously.
That's ultimately
Black
what it comes
Ops.
down to, right?
It is freaking incredible. It's the best one out there. Anyone
Don't
listening to
get
this?
me wrong.
Yeah, it's
that
gotta
game's
get
got
it.
its own. That game's got its own issue, but it does things a lot
It's
better
still
than
doable.
freaking Siege does. So
Oh yeah.
I can actually earn stuff in the game. I don't have to sit there and fucking buy it for the Halloween event. That's so insane.
Oh yeah.
How do you let Call of Duty do a Halloween event better than you? That makes no sense.
At least I could directly purchase last year's skins. That was nice.
I guess, right? Last year's skins, right? I guess that's nice.
So I don't know. We'll
Oh,
see.
man.
I'm gonna keep an eye on this whole thing
Well-
because I'm still going to be subbed to this Rainbow Six subreddit. I won't uninstall it. Maybe they'll turn it around. I'll give them a little bit of hope. They've come back from the grave once. I'd love to see them do it again. But I could see us not touching this until some major issues are addressed.
Yeah, I don't have a physical disc to break, but I'll definitely imagine that I'm breaking a disc because I'm uninstalling the game digitally.
I just got the Hibana skin too. I haven't even used it yet.
That sucks. GG.
GG.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining me on today's podcast. Check out the description for where else you can find us. We're about to go play a better shoot. Catch y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.